Welcome back, everybody. Well, when it comes to fitness, we tend to focus on the physical, but our next guest says that building our mental fitness is something that should get a heck of a lot more attention.
She's a psychiatrist, author, and professor who wants to help strengthen our psychological health. Dr. Jackie Kinley joins us from Halifax for Bell Let's Talk Day. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
So, Dr. Kinley, your work focuses on building resiliency through mental fitness. You even wrote a book about it. So tell us a bit more about this concept and why it's such a game changer.
Well, it's interesting. I was working, have a psychiatric background, was working with people for years and noticed that a lot of individuals that end up with mental health problems are people that really could really benefit from developing skills. And your brain is like any other muscle. And so these aren't character flaws. These are skills deficits, learning how to tolerate emotions, learning how to settle your body down. And so there was a lot of unnecessary suffering that actually, if we went upstream and actually helped to fortify people and strengthen them and give them the skills that they need, that we all need, it would mitigate the risk of illness and injury.
Okay, so let's parse that apart a little bit. So how can someone recognize if they are in acute medical distress and perhaps need to seek out immediate professional help versus somebody else who, they just need a few skills to be able to sort through the situation on their own?
Okay, great. Super question. I think the idea is that we know that life is rough. We know that there's going to be rough waters, and COVID has been rough. There's been a lot of rough waters, and people are finding themselves tired, emotionally, mentally. There's fog, the physical, existentially. It's been a real strain on us. But there's a difference between those emotions that are natural and normal that we're all feeling, and symptoms. Symptoms are very different. Symptoms are when you're stuck, you're crying, you can't get out of bed, you're paralyzed with anxiety. We heard earlier people talking about the difference. There's a real stuckness. Emotion is energy and motion. We have emotions. They're natural and they're vital. They're the spice of life, and we want them, all of them: anger, sadness, fear. They help us, but we don't want to get stuck in them. We have to keep moving. And so it's about teaching people how to, tolerate emotions and how to use that energy in productive ways.
Will you share with us some specific daily practices that we can all do to strengthen our resiliency and flex those mental muscles?
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting. It depends on where we are. So if you are sinking, I like to think of this idea of if folks are sinking, then they really do need to get back to basics. And we heard earlier, just self-care, making your bed, brushing your teeth, getting up every day, getting dressed. Those can be really, really helpful and really powerful. And those can help you get moving. Remember, it's about moving. And then there's other things that once you're moving that people can start to do to generate positive energy, positive emotion, to harness that internal pharmacy, practicing self-compassion, coming up with one thing that you like about yourself, putting it on your mirror so you see it. It's so important. Empathy for others, right? That generates positive energy. Learning how to sit in the morning. I sort of said, sit and commit every morning. Take 5 minutes before you start your day and sit down. It's hard to do. You start to struggle with yourself. So you're strengthening your resolve, your capacity to just be present, because that can be very stressful. And practicing gratitude at the end of the day, writing things down, again, generating that positive energy to help people to surface. Once you've surfaced, then you can strengthen. You can work on stronger emotions, other things that are more difficult. But some basic, start small. There's some basic things that everybody can do to start to make themselves feel better, to fortify, to have their own back.
So let's say we're going to start some of those daily practices, but we still may be a prisoner to that negative daily habit or cycle of some kind of behavior or pattern of thinking. What can we do to start breaking that loop in our brain and elsewhere?
Yeah. Absolutely. So, breaking the cycle, one of the things we heard earlier too was that learning is context dependent, meaning that certain habits are associated with certain places. And so, helping to change your setting as much as you can, right? And then really planning, really thinking about what it is that you want to do. It's not about stopping habits so much as it is starting new habits. It's about starting something new. So, how do you do that? And so, planning, and the devil's in the detail, sitting down, where am I going to do it? What are the barriers going to be? How confident am I? If you're not confident, go back to the drawing board. What do I need to do? And then accountability, tell a buddy, right? Do it with somebody. And rewards can be really helpful, all of those things. But every day when you try something new, the first 10 days are the hardest. And after 66 days, it's usually pretty well set, right? But the first 10 days, be ready for it, be prepared, and have a contingency plan, and be kind to yourself, right? The success is in trying.
We've talked a lot about hopefulness on this episode, but within the mental fitness framework, how do you promote hopefulness about the future?
Well, I think COVID has really shifted our focus from an illness model to sort of a strengths-based model. Like, we recognize now that nobody is immune to mental health trouble and to stress. Any of us can find ourselves, having any of these difficulties. We're just human, right? These aren't character flaws. These are just skills deficits, and we're all human. And I'm very hopeful. I think COVID has really forced us to sort of, it's really sort of busted stigma. The reality is, all of us, are just human beings doing the best we can with the resources we have. So how do we fortify people with the resources they need to be and stay well, the supports they need either internally or externally, right? How do we help each other? Because together we can stay and be well.
Oh, such great thoughts. Oh, Dr. Kinley, what a fascinating conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.